bleep bleep, motherfucker. Welcome to HowDoWeHuman. This is the podcast where we talk about all the weird and uncomfortable micro moments in life. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Binning.
I am one of your hosts, Evan Cox.
And today we're talking about profanity, cursing, swearing, vulgarity, all the synonyms. But before we get into any of that,
Yeah.
Evan, I want to get into your life.
Got to get into my life.
Evan, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Woke up feeling all right. Made some breakfast. Ate it. Sitting up here chatting with you for a while. I'm doing fine. All right, get off my ass. Sounds like you recently saw. I recently played a gig. A musician's gig.
Yes. I did see you recently played a musician's gig.
Yes, there's a spot near where I live that's doing weekly shows, or at least has been up until we sneak into the winter. This was kind of a tester for how that might go as it starts getting really fucking cold up here. So they're doing them earlier. And I've gotten to know the people that run it pretty well. We're on very friendly terms, good people. And threw that out like, man, I do that. I can do that. And they're like, all right, let's do it. They set me up and I'm like, hey, here we go, kiddo. So, I put together a bunch of mostly cover songs. I think I did like 3 or 4 original songs. 20 some cover songs. I was supposed to play for 3 hours, and then day of, it was like, listen, it's started raining a little bit earlier than it was supposed to. We'll do 2 hours. And then I get all set up and they're like, it's starting to rain a little bit more. Maybe we start early. I'm like, all right. So I started a half hour earlier than that. There were 3 people in the audience. And this is a situation with like a food truck and drinks and stuff. It's outdoors. It's a good time. So I'm going, I'm doing my thing. It's going well enough. People seem to enjoy me. People came in and out and checked it out, et cetera, et cetera. And at a certain point, you do a little bit of audience banter in between songs, as one does, just like an improv show. Like, how are you, fellas?
Yeah, where are you from?
Where are you from? And I just, I'm kind of letting them know because it's being relayed to me. Like, we don't know how long this can go on. We might have to stop early. And I'm like, all right, well, we're all seeing what the weather's going to do. I'm getting wet up here and all the equipment's getting wet.
Hey, and I hope you in the audience are getting wet too.
I hope you're getting
3,
wet
4,
right
5.
along us. You give love. As I'm saying, I make the joke like, so we're going to wrap up probably a little early. We'll see when that is. Hopefully not just when I am electrocuted. Ha 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 ha. Start playing a song, immediately the power cuts out. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. It was a small space, so I was like able to shout and people could still hear me. But I just couldn't help but think back to that comedy, my first open mic.
You have a lot of problems with microphones.
Yes. So, I kept going. I paused for a minute, and the guy running the bar
shouting all your songs.
100% I did.
You give love a bad name.
I did one song without power. Because I was just like, I guess just keep it going.
What song were you doing? Was it
unfortunately
The Power of Love?
I wish that would have been better because that's like a loud upbeat song. No, this happened to fall in my setup when I was doing an original song that was moderately quiet. So that was unfortunate. But yeah, I was like, fucking better to just like start playing something than to just stand here while people figure this out. It turned out to be that they were just trying to keep me warm. You know, we had a little like fire stove thing in front of me, which was keeping me warm enough. But then they also plugged in a space heater in the middle of the set, and that
space heaters will
ripped
fuck up your circuit breakers.
Yeah, immediately hit that. So we figured it out and got it all going back on. And then I played like 5 more songs, and then it was like, it's wet as hell out here, guys. Basically, I was given the instruction like, you can wrap up whenever you want. Like, you could, if you want to keep playing, go for it. But so I'm like, this was a paid gig. I got paid. I was getting paid the same amount either way, but I didn't want to just be like, "Oh, cool, peace."
Oh yeah.
So I had a time.
We're gonna close out with take the money and run. Here we go.
Not that Steve Miller Band. I did play Jet Airliner, so close enough. But next time, shout out a request. I just kept my eye on the timer and was like, "Oh, you know," they had shortened it to be like, "Let's make it a 2-hour set." I went to an hour and a half and then was like, all right, well, we're all cold, aren't we? Let's get the fuck out of here. So went well enough. I got paid. I made $15 in tips. So that's awesome.
Nice.
Felt good to get back out there. Issues aside, but I don't think I'm ever not going to have issues.
Did the crowd grow from 3 people?
Yeah, it grew. Eventually, there were like, it's a small space, but there were like 6 people. And it's a small space and we're sitting in the rain. Collectively, probably like 20 people like came through.
Okay.
And I'm just like, it was really bugging me. I'm like, man, if it weren't raining, all these people would sit down and have a beer or something, and it would be a pretty decent audience. But whatever. Next time we'll get them, kiddo. But Chris,
yeah,
I gotta know how you're doing.
I'm doing all right. This is, I guess, sort of a story, but it's also a question because, you know, at work, somebody, you know, we have like hand sanitizer in the office, and somebody also brought in recently, like a pump bottle of lotion.
Nice.
And somebody recently took a piece of tape, and covered the word body on body lotion. Okay. And on top of that piece of tape, wrote the word Diddy. And I guess it's like, I don't know how to feel about that, because it's not unfunny.
Yeah.
But it's not like as hilarious as the person who did it, I think, thinks it is.
Yeah. And not to get in the weeds on this, but it's a baby oil joke. This is a joke for baby oil.
Yes.
That is what he used. We know that now. That's a tough workplace joke scenario.
I think that's kind of the big thing for me too, is like, you know, I think somebody reported it or the manager like happened to see it, because it is gone now. The piece of tape, the lotion is still there, but
yeah,
it is just like a weird thing where like, and this will kind of segue into the episode a little bit of like, just because it's dark, does that make it also funny? Right. And then there is the added element of like, you know, if you and your friends all lived together or whatever, you were all roommates, and one of you did that, maybe it'd be like, yeah, we're all, yeah, that's funny. Like we all think that joke is good. But when you have it in an office of like 30 plus people of different ages and different backgrounds and all sorts of stuff, it feels
Yeah.
like,
Your
do
chances
we
of
all think this is funny?
everyone finding it funny are
Yeah.
pretty slim.
Yeah. So again, it's not the most offensive thing that's happened in our office, but it kind of like, I felt caught by surprise internally of like, I don't know how I feel about this.
Torn.
And I'm usually quick to a judgment on
Yeah.
how I feel. But
I hate that argument of like, well, it's just something that you and your buddies would laugh about. Cool. Go laugh with your buddies.
yeah.
I'll laugh with mine. Let's not share these things that our buddies would find funny.
Yeah, it is an interesting thing. We'll see if how that person reacts to it no longer being on the lotion. If they're like, well, I have to double down, or if they're like, well, is what it is. I
Now
saw it,
the
I did it, I laughed, and now it's over. Or if it's like my responsibility to really up the ante now.
here's where I'm at. This is what I would. This is what I would do. I think that's too far. You went too far, and everyone is offended. You got to be a little more subtle about it. And here's something innocent, quote unquote, that you
Okay.
can do. Just get that back to regular lotion. And just specially buy a little box of tissues to set right next to it. People are going to keep moving that box of tissues. You're going to keep buying more boxes of
Yeah.
tissues.
You know what?
Or bigger boxes of tissues. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't
No
know.
one can get mad at me for that.
It's weird.
Got a runny nose and dry hands.
It is a weird thing. I do like. I appreciate the subtlety of what you're
I'm very
implying
subtle.
until you continue to buy larger and larger things. But the first time, very subtle.
Yeah.
It's also, there's no way to segue because I was about to start talking about the main topic, but I forgot that we need to segue.
Yeah.
You know, you
Okay.
mentioned getting a ribbon and a piece of scissor to cut when the segue has officially taken place.
Yes.
And we've opened up into the main topic, but that's fuck. All right, let's talk about profanity.
I've got a very good segue to make
Great.
here.
Please.
Feels obvious to
Take
me.
over.
Like that, another thing in the workplace that you can never be sure, especially if you're in a new workplace, is this going to offend people or not?
Yes.
It's profanity.
Absolutely. Bravo.
Cut that ribbon. I would love to start there. How are you comfortable, say when you start a new job or there's new employees or something, are you comfortable being the first person to let out a swear word? So I hear you. You're a naughty boy. You're out there saying fuck.
I know. I think that I can be pretty good about when and where might be an appropriate time and audience to get profane. I typically don't, like, if I'm with my family.
Yeah.
No, I'm a precious little good boy. No swears, even though I'm 31 years old. I can't swear in front of my mommy. At this current job though, there was a moment where, like, within my first couple months of working there, there was a computer glitch.
Oh.
And I said, what the fuck? And even though a bunch of my coworkers will swear also, it was, I think, too early in my working there
Yeah, have made that leap.
to have made that remark. And one of my supervisors was like, the only person who can say fuck is me up here. But it was also a different time though, because now if people are swearing all up and down the office, like constantly, in front of customers, in front of supervisors.
Yeah.
It just is going off all the time, and not in like a confrontational, like angry way.
Shut the fuck up.
But it just like is a part of so many people who were hired after me.
Yeah.
It just like is a part of their dialect, I guess,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word. But it so now if I did that, and I'm a little looser with it at work too, and I think, I don't know if this is how you feel or have felt also, but you know, sometimes I feel like it's a way for me to, this is so stupid because I am already in this group. But sometimes I'm like, this is just like a way for me to relate to the common working man, which
Hey.
I am.
Yeah.
So I don't need to have a separate way to relate to them.
I think that's a moderately common, like, introvert thing, is just not associating yourself with what you clearly are a part of
Yeah.
already. It's like, well, I know I'm not really a part of the work group. It's like, yeah, you've been working here for 10 years. Yes,
Yeah.
you are. I weirdly relate to that. It kind of, that thought reminds me of our episode a little while ago talking about, newer employees at customer service, like cashier jobs that just get to sit down all the time.
Sure.
It's like, it bugs me in the same way. And granted, like, especially working at Walgreens, we were swearing up a storm. We were having a good ass time, but I would never swear in front of the customers, except the one or two times I swore at customers.
Yeah.
They deserved it.
Yes.
So it makes me really, like, this also, a lot in this episode is going to sound dumb. It makes me super uncomfortable to be like at the grocery store and there are two like younger employees just swearing up a storm, and they'll be like, oh, there's an old lady behind me. And I'm like, what are you doing? You have to stop. We have to go back in time and stop this.
She's never heard these words before. 90 years old. She's never heard this.
I feel like I have to protect the elderly because it feels like, hey, it's a part of the degeneration of America. But no, it doesn't feel like I'm very pro swearing. I think the idea of not being able to express yourself in certain ways is dumb. But like, it does feel like everyone from like Gen X on down. Gen X broke the rules. It's like, we can all swear whenever the fuck we want. And I think until the elderly are all gone, I'm going to be very protective of the fact that they don't want us doing that. I wasn't raised that way. No, I do swear around my parents all the fucking time. And they listen to this podcast. Fuck you, mom and dad. No, not like that. I respect them. Love you. But no, we all swear around each other a lot. And now that makes us sound like degenerates. That's not the case. I swear. Oh, God. I swear.
Do you ever feel like self-conscious about the amount that you swear?
Yeah, it's gotten more so now that my sisters have kids. And I was very worried, like, when initially my one sister had a kid, my other sister had one kid. They were both 2 years apart, I think. 1 or 2 years apart. But so when they were both like babies, I was very worried, like, as they get older, am I going to just be like, oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
And I'm just swearing up a storm around the kids. Because you want to keep the kids innocent for some reason. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they're, I'm better about that than I thought I would be.
Okay.
It doesn't come up very often that I'm around the kids and wanting to say, like, fuck you, man.
Right.
But they're the two of them are beyond toddlers now. They're in school. So kids. Two facts. Kids love discovering swear words,
Yes.
and kids swearing is the funniest thing in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
And you said this statement earlier, and I think I told this story forever ago, so I'll keep it brief. But basically, just like my mom used to run a daycare when we were in school. So, like, all throughout me being in high school, I'd wake up and there'd be kids in the house. And there was just this kid who's just like, yeah, a little rambunctious, but just like sweet kid, and never said anything. And then just like one day, he's sitting in his little high chair, and there was a little noise outside. And this little kid just turned to the window and went, "What the fuck?" That's as funny as anything gets.
Yeah.
I love it. So sue me. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel self-conscious about how much I swear.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily like feel guilty about doing it, but there is still, like, you mentioned how like you were raised to
Mm-hmm.
protect the elderly or whatever. Whatever you said, I wasn't listening. But
I was raised to protect the elderly.
But I feel like I was raised to believe that, like, swearing is bad, and it like makes you sound dumb.
Yes, yeah.
And I think there's still a little bit of that ingrained in me. The same way that, like, saying like a bunch makes you sound dumb. Saying a bunch, and like, oh man,
really
listening
tried
back
to-
to this podcast fuck me up, because I do both of those things all the time.
They really, really tried to beat that out of us in school. Not literally, but like,
Yeah.
But it was, and I wonder, hey, again, we got to go swing by these schools and talk to these kids. Is it still, because, we hear like, oh, kids don't have to learn cursive and shit like that.
Right.
Is that obviously the schools aren't wanting kids to be swearing, but is there still, because I think that came from that age group that was our teachers. I don't know. Is given that, I would assume, other than the very elderly, the majority of teachers right now are millennial to Gen X age.
Yeah.
Do they care at all if, like, in an English class or somewhere where you're giving a speech about ahs and ums or likes, are they still down on that? Or are we just like Webster's dictionary that's like, yeah, man, Riz, it's a word.
Yeah.
We're chill, we're Webster.
Yeah, I do also wonder, similar to that, like, if I did a book report on The Great Gatsby, and I was
We should do book reports.
Gatsby was rizzing up that lady across the bay. Like, would I get docked? It's in the dictionary. I don't know.
And knowing the definition of Riz, like, that's a true ass statement, bro. Gatsby was full of Riz. His place was Riz incarnate. Was he happy? No. But the Riz is what we talk about.
Yeah, when I was in school, I felt like I really didn't have a lot of uhs and ums and likes in my general speech, and I don't know where that broke, because now the floodgates have opened and it's constant from me. But I think swearing, I still clock when I feel like I'm doing it too often.
Sure, yeah. And I was glad. I mean, we got that. I don't know if he still listens, but when I was at your wedding, we got that compliment from a relative of your wife's. So I was like,
Yes.
check in on the podcast up there. Like, it is. You're very funny without having to swear all the time. And I have that voice in the back of my head sometimes. And I'll go like, man, I'm swearing a lot in this episode.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't want to upset him. He seemed nice.
I definitely have that in the back of my mind. Not even just on this podcast, but like when I'm at work, I'll be like, what am I doing?
Slow down.
Slow down.
Slow down,
You
man.
have an allotment. You're gonna spend it all in one place.
Ooh, this would be we should carry clickers around with us and gauge how often we do swear in a day. I feel like having that, though, would make us swear less.
Yeah, I think so, too.
But I would be curious to know, because I feel like it would be exactly the same as the app on my phone that tells me, like, you looked at your phone 5 hours this week. That makes me sad.
Yeah.
If I saw that number, I'd be like, no. Oh my.
Oh, drat.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think that I'd be happy with that number either.
Yeah. But it's fun.
It is kind of fun. It's sometimes I do think that like it can make a joke funnier.
Yeah.
But I do agree that with the general, I don't know if this is a general take among everybody or just among those elderly that you're so desperate to protect. But
Yes.
you know, it does feel like there are a lot of either professional comedians or amateur comedians that are like, the funniest thing I can do is swear constantly. And I don't think that's true. I think it's the same with any joke that doesn't have swearing in it. You have to like craft it.
Yeah.
And that it's not just like it's not a catch-all that you can like a miracle fix on any joke.
No. I think the best example, and to be fair, there are a lot of clean comedians that I don't think are funny.
Yeah.
There are a handful of like fully clean comedians that I think are funny as hell. But like a good example of this, like just choosing your moments and stuff like that, like Jim Gaffigan, guy's known as a pretty thoroughly clean comedian.
Yeah.
He doesn't swear much in his specials. And then one day around, I think 2020, like some political discourse was going on, and Jim Gaffigan just tweeted something with the word fuck in it. And it made me so happy. I'm like, this was worth it. This was worth 10 years of swearless comedy to just have him tweet something. I don't even remember what it was. It was like, shut the fuck up or something. But it made me like, I love this guy. Loyal fan forever. But I keep focusing on the big baddie there. Don't say the F word.
Sure.
But I want to talk about A, your favorite curse word. B,
well, who are we? Whitney Cummings and Miranda Cosgrove?
I don't know. Is this a thing?
Yeah, I've been waiting this whole episode to see where I can drop that reference in.
God.
And yes, there is.
I didn't get it.
When Miranda Cosgrove was on Whitney Cummings' podcast, a viral clip happened.
Oh my.
In which Whitney Cummings asked the former Nickelodeon child star what her favorite curse word is.
And
she was very much like, I don't know, probably fuck. And that clip went viral. Because everybody was like,
that's not
iCarly said the F word.
Worthwhile.
Yeah.
This is James Lipton's question. All right, let's get classy. It's inside the.
If the moon was made of ribs, would you eat it?
What's your favorite swear word? And what do you think is and maybe it's the same, a super underrated swear word? And I'll give you an example in that case, I
Okay.
think, and maybe it's making a comeback. If it's not, I think it should. Or maybe getting older, you just become less obscene. I'm starting to think the word ass rules.
Mm,
Calling someone an ass.
yeah.
it I feel like that hits harder than going
Yeah.
like you fucking jerk or something like that.
Sure.
Like, you horse's ass is funny. I don't know.
Yeah.
Underrated ass.
Um. I think underrated is probably dipshit. Um.
That carries the same gravitas. I
Yeah.
like it. Dipshit's good.
Uh. That's one that's definitely starting to work its way into my
I like
internal customer service thought process.
that. Okay,
Um.
dipshit.
And I call me iCarly.
Okay.
Look at me, iCarly now.
Okay.
I think fuck is probably my favorite.
Yeah,
It's just
it's
versatile,
fun.
you
It
know.
is. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think what I say most often. It probably is that. Yeah, I don't know. Bullshit's good too. I like bullshit.
Yeah.
That's a one word exclamation. Bullshit.
The
uh,
I suggested this episode to you,
it's true.
and the
The way you
reason
did it
I
was profane as hell, and I was offended.
the reason that I suggested it is because, it's that holiday season. And so I'm starting to search for different gifts, and I'm looking on
Mm-hmm.
Etsy for different like custom ornaments and stuff like that I can give as easy gifts. And I am I think even more so than like being at the grocery store and hearing two employees, you know, swearing in their conversation. The amount of like, oh, let me put a swear word on this piece of
Yeah.
merchandise to make it quirky and edgy really rubs me the wrong way. And I don't
Yeah.
know what it is. I don't find it cute and charming. I find it cringe as hell.
Well, I think it comes into the same category as me protecting the elderly and your coworker's Diddy joke, where it's like, okay, you're not just making a joke to a friend, you're putting it out there, and not in a like you're on stage making a joke situation. You're you're putting it out there, and anyone can see it. And there just
Hmm.
are going to be a lot of people that do not like that. And I think you and I are wired to not ever want that to happen, that someone doesn't like a thing we said or did. Um, so, yeah, I'm kind of with you there.
It's just like I just can't imagine buying something that says like "Merry fucking Christmas" on it.
Yeah.
Like, who is that for?
Yeah, and I don't know because I feel like that is definitely a trend, and I don't know if it is for edgy people or is it just for the kind of kitschy like it's funny because of the, I don't know.
Yeah, right. Like it's most of the time I can be like, oh, that product's not for me, but I can see like, oh, if you like this activity or whatever, then I can see like who the demographic is supposed to be. I guess is my thing.
Yeah.
But this specific niche um product. I don't understand who it's for.
Now at my 2 jobs ago I did make this. Now I never used it or sent it out to anyone, but every time I look at it it does make me laugh, and I think
Okay.
partially because I never used it. And I'm not looking to sell this or anything, just some custom stationery. It says "Listen up, fuckface." Has a nice little flower on it. I think it's great.
I this is in that same realm for me. I'm like, I
It
don't get
is.
it. I
Okay.
don't, I don't get it.
All right. But this relates to directly, but this is a more specific version of that. Shirts.
Yeah.
Obscene shirts. I'm very uncomfortable with. And I own one. And I like it a lot. And I haven't worn it in years because I don't want to offend people. And I've found myself. So the shirt is my one and only Comedy Bang Bang shirt that I own from after Harris Whittles died. And I think it says, "Motherfuckers gotta laugh." A quote from him. Mine was a misprint, but I kept it because I'm like, that's cool. But it still says "motherfuckers" on it, and it's a cool shirt.
What part is
Uh,
misprinted?
I think it's either, I forget which way it is, but one said "motherfuckers just gotta laugh" and one says "motherfuckers gotta laugh," and one is
Okay.
the correct quote, one is not.
Got
So
it.
mine is actually a misquote.
Okay.
Which, what seemed special to me, so I kept it. But I wore it around a while, and I remember in particular a trip with my sisters to Las Vegas, wearing it around. And I'm like, okay, it's Vegas, whatever. But then you realize, like, nah, kids come to Vegas too. A lot of old people are in Vegas. And I just
Yeah.
found myself kind of walking around like this a lot, like covering it up with my arms. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe that's just me not being like comfortable with
Yeah.
myself and expressing myself. Uh, I don't like it. I don't like public facing obscenity.
Yeah, I'm generally not a fan of it either. I think for me it definitely is in that same like Merry fucking Christmas ornament
Yeah,
vibe of like I don't know why. I mean, I guess yours is a little different. I wouldn't like necessarily wear that shirt, but the idea of
but it's
that
not an
quote is still
edgy
like,
thing. It's
yeah,
like it's a nice sentiment.
exactly. Like the
And
intention
there's
behind it is
a
different.
good good meaning behind it. It's a shirt I bought that went to his sister's foundation, etc., etc. But it just still says "fuck" on it.
Yeah,
I don't know. I haven't worn it in probably 10 years,
yeah.
but it's still there in my closet. There's something in my water, and I'm very thirsty, and there's only a little bit of water, and I'm like, can I drink around it? What do you think?
I think it's worth a shot.
It is.
This will be maybe this will be another tough one for me to talk about because I gotta
Safe.
allude to what my
Oh,
job
yes.
is.
Always fun. Let's
But
go.
I've definitely been in situations where in fact, there was one guy I distinctly remember had a hat on that said
This fucking guy.
fuck on it. Like that was the only text on the
Yeah.
hat. It just says fuck, but it's in like very like not it's not cursive, but it is a like very wavy kind of, you have to really look at it to decipher what it says with
Sure.
the font
If
that they've
you're
used.
just kind of passing, it might look like it says something, like just some
It's
brand.
just like a brand or just a pattern in general.
Yeah.
But that is still what it says. And uh as the employee in the situation, people have come up to me and been like, "Can you get that guy to stop wearing that hat? It's obscene.
Is it
I'm
a coworker
offended."
or just someone that's
No,
there?
it's a customer to customer beef
Oh,
that they've
absolutely
tried to
not.
rope me into policing. That also really bugs me. If you have a problem with another person and
Yeah,
it's not like it's something simple like that where you could talk to
sure.
them person to person, just do that.
Yeah.
Don't get an
Or
employee involved.
turn around and not look at their hat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, these are the people that run to teacher, a
Yeah.
teacher, and never stopped. And we don't look at it that way, and I think we should. Some people never stop running to teacher for
Yeah.
help.
The other day,
You're not teacher.
somebody came up to me and my coworker, and they were like, "Somebody's water bottle's on the floor. Are you guys gonna do something about that?" And we were both like, "Yeah, absolutely." And as soon as they walked away, we both looked at each other like, "What the fuck is this?" And then we didn't do anything about it.
Enjoy your water, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, people are, yeah, you meet all kinds.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to upset some people. On that note, well, I do have one very embarrassing to me story that I would like to tell before this episode ends. But first, I would like to say, and I think I told the story of my girlfriend's nephew getting me in trouble for saying dang or darn or something like that. He swore. So you never know where people's lines are.
Yes.
And when I was a kid, our neighbors, there was a very specific line, and there was no swearing. You're not allowed to swear, but it's like, hey, we're not allowed to swear over here either. You're not special. Same here. Okay. But then we'd go over there. It's like my parents wouldn't let us swear, but they were fun most of the time. And we'd go over there, and they were also fun. But they considered the word fart to be equally as bad as saying fuck or something along those lines. They'd call it the art word.
They'd call it the art word.
I couldn't handle this. I got caught saying fart a lot because I was a child. And the only thing funnier than swearing is farts.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I never got over this.
Yeah, no,
in my mid to late 30s now.
I'm with you on that. I do. Yeah,
Let
I
kids say
definitely
fart.
have heard heard other people be like, no, that's all. It's all under the same umbrella.
Satan's parasol.
It's, as a podcast, we're legally required to talk about cancel culture. So I'm going to say that it's the same thing as cancel culture, where
if we want to get our tax rebates,
everybody kind of puts it all under the same. Like it's all now equal instead of there are differing levels of bad. And yeah, I don't I have heard other people say that, oh no, we don't let our kids say fart. We make them say pass gas. It's like no, nobody cares. Fart is a funnier word, and it's.
I will get behind not saying fart if it's in the interest of making kids stick with the word toot, because toot is funnier.
Toot is funnier.
But that's
I agree
never
with that.
the intent.
Yeah.
Should be. We should all say toot as adults.
Yeah.
It rules.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Toot toot.
You lost me on the little stationery you made, but you've gotten me back on board with toot.
I like my stationery. I'm never going to use it. I think that's the difference. This is not a public-facing thing.
That's true. I do appreciate that you're not.
I would never
putting it on Etsy, although you probably could and make some money.
in that case, let's see what I can do.
The last thing I want to talk about is I don't know if you remember seeing these headlines of these scientific studies.
Oh, yeah.
But the idea that actually, even though we feel like we were raised to think that swearing is stupid, it might actually be that if you swear a lot, maybe you're actually more intelligent.
I love that.
I trust scientists, but man, does that feel like a waste of time to be studying in the first place.
Tough study to.
It definitely feels like a scientist was told they swear too much, and they were like, "Well, actually, maybe it means I'm smarter than you."
Think about it this way:
I don't know. I can't. I know that you know, facts don't care about my feelings, but I really
Hey,
feel like I can't get on board with that study. The
that's
little that I've
interesting.
looked into it also is there are a lot of caveats in in that finding.
I
There's
feel
a
like
lot of like it might mean that. It's like, well,
there is this thin layer of the internet where science and like BuzzFeed clickbait articles combined,
yeah,
and it's a bad place.
yeah,
I'm not a fan of that. That is not what I thought we were about to talk about. That is interesting, and I'm going to look into that because maybe I'm smart. I'm going to look at any article titled "Maybe You're Smarter
yeah.
Than Other
That's
People."
true. It's like those
Um,
articles that are like, maybe if you eat dark chocolate, you'll be the healthiest person alive.
yeah, or ads for games that are like, if you could solve, nobody here can solve this
Yeah,
puzzle.
nobody here's ever gotten
But if you
past
can
level
do it,
2.
if you could put these three strands together in the right order, one, two, and
Your
then
brain
three,
age is good.
you've got an IQ of 100. I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Welcome to Mensa. No, I was going to talk about the putting a hand in ice water thing. Have you heard of this?
No.
This is a fascinating study, and I love it.
Is it to make you pee your pants? What is
No.
this?
They put a little whipped cream in your hand, a feather, and tickle your nose. No, it's you put two groups, and this is actually like good science. I think they tested it out well. Two groups of people, they don't know either is there, kept separate from each other, and one by one, and everyone putting their hand in a bucket of ice water and holding it there for as long as they possibly can. One group is told they absolutely cannot swear. The other group is not told that, and they're free
Okay.
to say whatever they want. The group that could swear lasted like significantly longer than the people who were not allowed to swear.
Huh.
It's almost like an endorphin thing, like you're getting
Yeah.
some energy out. Something about just being able to go fuck is very helpful. I don't know. I think that's super interesting. But the people who are not allowed to swear, it was just like,
Yeah.
must stop now. I like it. I'm going to remember that when it comes time to do that again. Because I did that with my sisters one time when we were kids. Except we held our faces in the snow. Well, I think we also did our faces in ice water. I don't know. We were bored. 90s kids much?
Yeah, get one of those memes that's like 90s kids starter pack, but it's just like a bucket of ice water.
Remember when we all did this? So I've got my one more little story I want to tell, but I'm going to start it by asking you first. Since it sounds like we both were raised as good little boys, don't say the bad words. Do you remember when you first swore or started swearing or anything? Like, do you have any memory of making like a decision? Like, fuck it, I don't care.
Not really, but I do remember being like among the last of my friends to cross that threshold.
That's a thing. I was there too. That's funny. I hadn't remembered that until you said it. That it's like, yeah, most of my other friends felt very comfortable swearing.
Yes.
I'm like, what kind of fucking households were you raised in?
Exactly.
Raised in a barn?
Yeah, and I think that yeah, I don't know when I would have really started doing it. I mean, I remember a lot of my friends, like some of my friends starting to swear, definitely middle school, but also maybe a little bit end of elementary school. That was kind of when people were testing the waters, I think.
Yeah.
But I feel like I didn't really start. I do it way more post college, I think, but
Mm-hmm.
probably late high school and then into college is when
Interesting.
I would have started. I really like
You held
didn't
on.
feel like it was super necessary most of the time. But I I definitely remember most of my friends in middle school. There were like two of them especially that were just like super comfortable
Yeah.
saying all sorts of foul stuff.
You seem like you've always been a pretty logical person in a like it's not a holier than thou choice. It's a like it doesn't really serve me.
Yeah.
I don't see any benefit in it, so
Yeah.
why? Interesting. I don't the second I thought about this, I'm like, well, I'm not saying that on the podcast, but here I go. This is a very specific type of embarrassment. So I didn't swear at all. And I know now, like you reach a certain point, and I feel like maybe I already had, but for the longest time I wasn't, where you're like kind of saying swear words in your head, like
Yes.
in your inner dialogue. You're going like, hey, shit.
Right.
Whatever. Maybe that had already started. But I was in middle school. I'd have to look up this album to know the exact year and what age I would have been. But this was the year. I can't say it. This is the year that Nickelback's album came out with the song How You Remind Me, which has been playing on the radio a lot more recently, and I stand by it. Listen, Nickelback sucks. That song's a banger. I do like that song, and I hate that I like that song. I asked for that album. I can't think of it. It's something about a penny, something sided penny. It's got a little teary eye on the cover, and I asked my grandma to buy it for me for my birthday, and that's embarrassing enough on its own. Speaking of protecting the elderly, I did not need to introduce my grandmother to who Nickelback was, but I did. There was a song on this album. My grandma bought me a CD with swear words. I'm like, Grandma, oh my God. And there was a song on it. Just one. The rest of the album, as I remember it, clean. But there's one song. I think it's a song about like domestic abuse that has the word fuck in it. And it hit me hard. And I distinctly remember waiting for probably my mom or our neighbor, someone to come pick me up after school. So it's after middle school. I'm just walking around waiting for the car. No one else. All my other friends had already left on the bus or whatever. And I was sitting there and like, I just remember having the actual thought, like, what does it matter? I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it out loud. And I was like singing the song to myself. I had my little non-skip, quote unquote, CD player. I'm listening to the song and then I was singing it to myself. I'm saying, fuck. And easing my way into it through the devil's music, Nickelback. Yeah. I feel like it's a very relatable Elma tale of letting Nickelback drive you to sin. I don't remember what song it was. I don't remember how it went, but that's my tale. Walking around by myself, probably the 6th or 7th grade, just going, fuck. Oh, fuck. However the song went. So yeah, maybe just me then. I got a concrete memory. I made a choice one day, but then also kept it to myself. It's not like I then went home and was like swearing in front of my parents or anything. Right. It's like, I've got a secret. I say bad words sometimes, and they don't know. Sorry, Pastor Gary. Did we fucking do it?
I think we did. We want to hear from you, though, the listeners. Yeah. We want to know what your history with swearing is, what you like to say when you first decided to get profane with it. You can check out all of our episodes, by the way, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pocket Cast, HowDoWeHuman.com. You can rate, review, comment, subscribe. And you can reach out to us on our social media as well. You can check us out on Instagram, YouTube, and another one, Facebook at HowDoWeHuman. You can also send us an email to howdowehumanpod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Interact with us. We're so lonely.
Listen, we've got an example. Someone interacted with us recently.
What?
I'd like to share. We got a comment on YouTube.
Huzzah.
You posted a clip. Whose
did.
brain are you eating this Thanksgiving?
Oh, I posted that mere hours ago.
2 hours ago, according to this. And 1 hour ago, we got a comment from Jack D. Slime.
Great.
It says, Martha Stewart is probably thinking about food all the time. Her brain is filled with recipes. An excellent choice, sir. And I felt validation.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you, Jack D. Slime. We hope you come back or go listen to the full episode.
And now it's time for us. Now it's time for a breakdown because we've got to do our little trivia matchup. As you recall, Evan, the score is 19-16 with you in the lead.
I don't like it. My lead isn't as strong as yours was.
It's true. You've been in the lead this whole time as we play to 100 points. But when I won the last race to 100 points, I did have a larger lead. So maybe I'll be able to overtake you this time.
We'll see about that.
Let's see how this goes. Question number 1, Evan. What animal causes the most amount of human deaths? Snake, spider, mosquito, or lion?
I have an answer.
I do positive. As well.
Maybe I'm being led in a certain way, but I'm sticking with it.
Yeah, I mean, we do have each of our least favorite animals on here as options. It's between snake and spider.
What if they merged? Just a snake with 8 legs and 8 eyes.
I mean, that I'd be shocked. It feels shocking that that's not like a Sci-Fi Channel original monster movie.
Snyder.
The Snyder cut.
Starring Rob Schneider.
Yeah, I think Sci-Fi should release the Snyder cut. And I would like to let you know, Evan, even though snake and spider are both on there, that's not what the answer I'm picking.
No, I'm going mosquito.
I'm also going mosquito. And that is correct. So we both get a point.
Great. When Rob Schneider had his circumcision, they called it the Schneider cut. Which ancient civilization was known for building Machu Picchu and had its capital in Cusco? Emperor's New Groove, anybody?
Anybody?
Aztec, Maya, Olmec, or Inca?
Evan, I've been to Machu Picchu and to Cusco, so I do know the answer to this. Unless I was led astray while I was there.
You were there. I'll answer first in that case. I think I know this. I'm going to say Inca.
Inca is also my answer. I believe that's correct. And it is.
Hooray!
It's going to be really tough for me to overtake the lead if you keep getting questions right. What is the state with the second largest population? Okay. California, Texas, Florida, or New York?
That's tough. And I think I'm going California.
I'm going to go Texas, I think.
Okay.
I don't like it, but that's what I'm going to do. Texas is correct.
I thought Texas was the most populated. Damn it.
There's just so many stretches of Texas that are just nothing. I guess there's some of that in California too, but
yeah, I mean, there's plenty. What year did India gain its independence from the British? We're great with years on this podcast.
Yeah.
1952, 1942, 1947, or 1917? Mary, I'm going to say 1952.
That's also my answer. I don't know why.
Based on almost nothing. But I believe this is later in history than you would guess.
Yeah. I guess we're both going 1952. It was 1947.
Second closest.
Yes.
On the right track.
Who painted Girl with a Pearl Earring?
Fuck.
Johannes Vermeer, Picasso, Claude Monet, or Vincent van Gogh?
I'm going to try not to overthink this because I think I know the answer. I'm going to say Vermeer.
That's also where I'm leaning. I'm just trying. I am going to let myself maybe overthink it because
I'm being pulled in a couple of directions. But I'm just stopping the thought there.
I'm being pulled in one other direction, and I can't decide if I want to jump ship to Claude Monet. But I think I want to stick with Vermeer. I don't think it's Picasso or Van Gogh.
It's not Picasso.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to stick with Vermeer on this.
All right. I think we both got
it. We did both get that correct.
All right.
So I did.
You only missed one that time.
I know. I chipped away at the lead a little bit, but you are still in the lead, Evan.
Good.
The score now, as I do my quick little calculations, Evan with 22 points and Chris with 20 points.
Sucks. It always hurts to get like a decent amount right, but still lose the lead. Well, hey, we fucking did it. I'm at that point where I am feeling like I'm swearing too much, but I think anyone that clicked on this, you got to assume.
You got to assume that's what's going on.
That's what's happening. But I feel like you've done a significantly better job than I have of not swearing.
Yeah, there have definitely been episodes in the past where I'm like, man, I gotta cool it. But this one, I think I did all right.
All right. Well, in this case, we're gonna have to say, "Oh shit, bye."
Oh shit, bye.